Donald Trump Jr., this guy, went to the premiere of Dinesh D'Souza's new propaganda orgy, and he revealed himself to somehow be significantly dumber than his dad.
I've been out hearing the left talking about all these things, fascism, Nazism on the right, and when you look at the actual history of how these things evolved, and when you actually look at that platform versus the platform of the modern left, you say, wait a minute, those two are really heavily aligned and frankly contrary to the right. And so it's really more about just having actual real history being out there. When people talk about these things, you can't just spew that because someone told you that in a history class when academia and everything has been so influenced and so wrongly influenced by left. So I think it's important just to have that message out there based on actual facts, based on actual history, because it's just not what we've been told. And I think when you look at the movie, you'll see that there is a very distinct and clear difference between what actually happened and what is being sold to our youth today.
And how is it that we could really off-ramp what's going on today, sort of reduce that negativity and get back to a place where we're not trying to, attack everyone all the time?
Well, I think you just got to talk about the facts. You got to talk about the history. You got to look at the platforms. I mean, one of the most interesting things, I put it out on my social last night, was when I was watching the movie before this to make sure, hey, am I coming to something that makes sense? Is, you see the Nazi platform in the early 1930s and what was actually put out there as there, and you look at it compared to like the DNC platform of today, and you're saying, man, those things are awfully similar to a point where it's actually scary. And I mean, to me, that was one of the most striking things I took from the movie, and it's because it's the exact opposite of what you've been told. When you have, a bunch of kids in dreadlocks running around screaming about fascism and all these things, it's like, wait a second, have you actually taken a history class? Do you actually know what these words mean that you're running around and spewing? And I think they don't.
That ending almost broke my brain because it was just so ironic that it doesn't even compute. He's like, these kids, they don't even know what they're talking about. Do they know what they're talking about? I don't think they even know what they're talking about. Dude, you were just ranting about how the Nazi platform and the current day DNC platform are like the same. And you immediately followed that up with accusing other people of not knowing what they're talking about. I mean, he's almost like too stupid to comment on. There's almost too much there that it's fucking overwhelming because you feel like you have to fact check every single goddamn second. I mean, holy shit, is this sad. Think about what he just said. And for the record, I find it really funny that, people on the right, they do this thing where if anybody brings up Michael Moore, it's like an automatic scoff. It's like, ha! Michael Moore, propagandist. And I've experienced that many times. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Michael Moore. I do watch, when I watch something he produces, I have a skeptical eye going, and I'll fact check some stuff later if I'm unsure about, what it is. So I think it's reasonable to double check and verify and make sure. But listen, even if, hey, I disagree with Michael Moore, let's say on 60% of stuff, some of the stuff he puts out there is actually correct. It's true. Now, Dinesh D'Souza, on the other hand, he's not even the equivalent of Michael Moore on the right. He is like 1,000 times worse than Michael Moore. His entire fucking career is based on the premise of denying the concept of a political realignment. He's been making the same point for like a decade, and his one point is, did you know the Democrats were the Klan? The Democrats were the Ku Klux Klan. Now, I'm not going to tell you what a political realignment is, and I'm not going to tell you that when Lyndon Johnson, a Democrat, signed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, that there was actually a flipping of the parties, and you basically had the people who identified as racist move to the Republican Party. Now, I'm not going to say that, but what I will say is this out-of-context misleading fact that the Democrats were the Klan, and I'll repeat that over and over, and then you're going to think that today the Klan is also Democratic. You're so stupid! You're so stupid! He is relying on people who watch his stuff to not do like 5 seconds of Googling. And by the way, it's probably true that most of the people who watch his stuff don't do that Googling. So it works. I mean, there's nothing more lucrative than having brown or black skin and deciding, I'm just going to tell the Republicans exactly what they want to hear every step of the way. Because then they just throw fucking gobs of cash at you. And you're like, oh shit, I am cashing in, bitch. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only reason D'Souza does it, because I think he actually is that stupid. Okay? Just to be clear. It's not like, oh, I'm only making a calculation here for, my finances. No, I think he actually kind of believes his own garbage that he spews. But look at the type of people. I mean, Donald Trump Jr. is the kind of person, Dinesh D'Souza showed parts of a DNC platform that are equal to the Nazi platform. I mean, this, you know what this reminds me of? It's like the fucking whole Hitler liked dogs. Do you like dogs today? I notice you have a dog. You must be a Nazi. I mean, that's the level of logic that we're talking about here. So by the way, the current DNC platform, Bernie's right, it actually is the furthest left platform because of his influence and his supporters' influence. So when you have a platform, what? You want to increase the minimum wage? You want to, I don't know if Medicare for All is on the platform. If it's not, it should be. I mean, this is one of the things I love to point out. Did you know that Nazi Germany actually had a government healthcare system? Yeah, that wasn't the operative thing that made the Nazis suck, you fucking idiots! How do I have to point this out? How do I have to point this out? It's the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. The thing that made the Nazis was, I don't know, forced sterilization of fucking minorities, taking people who have, whether it be psychological issues, people who were Roma, people who were Jews, taking these people, taking away all of their rights, literally sterilizing them. That's how it started. Eventually going on to build concentration camps and systematically trying to do genocide and murder and wipe out entire groups of people, including millions and millions of Jews. Yeah, I think that was the operative thing in the Nazis' platform. That was the problem. I frankly don't give a flying fuck if Hitler thought, hey, we should raise the minimum wage. That doesn't mean that it is by definition incorrect. Hitler also had dark-colored hair. I have dark-colored hair. That doesn't mean I'm fucking Hitler. It's so stupid. It's all so stupid. It's all so stupid. And then also, I love when the guy asks, he says to Donald Trump Jr., hey, how do we get to a place where, we're not trying to all attack, where everybody's not trying to attack everyone all the time? And then immediately, Donald Trump Jr. goes on to talk about how, well, obviously, the Democrats are like Nazis. He just said, how do we get to a point where we don't attack everyone all the time? See, they never apply the same rules to themselves. They never do it. They never do it. There's not a hint of irony in his response there. He doesn't catch that contradiction at all. To them, they mean, the only thing that they're against is if some, left-wing college kid with pink hair accuses somebody on the right of being a Nazi, accuses, his beloved daddy of being a Nazi. Then he's like, I can't believe how impolite this is. Can you believe this? Why can we stop attacking everybody personally, please? Anyway, let me tell you how the Democrats are Nazis. It's all so stupid, man. It's all so stupid. That's the level of discourse. And for the record, in that movie, you know what Dinesh D'Souza does? I'm not kidding about this. He goes and talks to Richard Spencer, the guy who's the white nationalist, white supremacist, and he asks Richard Spencer, hey, who's your favorite president? And he says, Jackson. He says Jackson, I think he says Polk or something like that. And D'Souza goes, Democrats. So again, what did I say at the beginning of this clip? Dinesh D'Souza has one trick. It's been his entire career. One trick. Deny the fact that political realignments exist and they happen. And so he says, so he's a Democrat. So in other words, people took that, and I'm not kidding. They go on today now to say, see, Richard Spencer loves Democrats. He's on the left. Again, it's almost too stupid to even merit comment, but yet again, I'm here commenting on it. I mean, it's funny how these are the same people who also say, like, we need to get above the idea of political tribalism and picking sides. You guys are the worst at that. That's exactly what this is. The other side are Nazis. You're guilty of exactly what you accuse the other side of doing. They're like, all these people on the left, so quick to call people racist, so quick to call people Nazis. And then what's he doing? The DNC is a lot like the Nazis, the Democratic platform. It's like the Nazis. Can we please all get along and stop calling people we disagree with Nazis? Ah, you guys are like Nazis. As I said, almost too stupid to merit comment, yet here I am.